Great seeing you here in our next video in our masterclass in project management. We're talking about project and communication management. Communication is very important. So first of all, I want to define what we understand under communication. Then we look at the project manager and communications. We also have to consider what we call the sender-receiver model. We consider communication lines when we are communicating with stakeholders and with people within our project environment. And we look at the main communication skills and the 5 C's of communication. So let's first have a look at defining communication. When we talk about communication, we typically consider the exchange of messages between people. And there are different ways to exchange messages. We can use words, they can be spoken or written. We can use sounds, we can use symbols, signs, body language, pitch of the voice, and facial expressions. All these elements are part of communication. When we look at PMI, we can define 5 communication types. First of all, verbal, non-verbal, writing, visual, and listening. Communication can be done using different methods to share messages between people. We have email, instant messages, meetings, voice and video calls, and request tickets. So there are different ways how we can communicate. Now, when we look at the project manager and communication, we see the project manager here in the center, and the project manager is talking with the management, with the team, with the customer, and with the suppliers. But also customers and management have communication, customers and the team have communication, suppliers also have communication with the management and with the team. We also have the sender-receiver model. So basically we send messages from a sender towards a receiver. So the message goes in this case from left to the right. There is noise around us, noise that is in fact having an impact on the way the message is sent when we are talking. We may have noise by traffic, we may have disturbance on the telephone line, we may have delays due to IT problems by transmission of packages over a network and so on. The sender encodes the message, selects a method and sends the message, confirm receipt, and verify understanding from the receiver. So this is a kind of acknowledgement. The receiver decodes the message, confirms receipt, restate the message to confirm the proper understanding of the message. A nice example is in airline communication. For example, the tower sends a message to the pilot. The tower says, for example, you have permission to line up. And in that case, the receiver, the pilot in the airplane, will say, okay, we have permission to line up. So there is a communication and it makes a clear understanding of the messages. There was a very big incident in Tenerife between Pan Am and a Dutch airline, KLM airplane. Due to misunderstanding, the pilot understood that they were cleared for takeoff. And they didn't confirm. They said, we're cleared for takeoff, we take off. So they changed the procedures with the acknowledgement. You always acknowledge the message to ensure that the other party really understands what you mean. Another concept is about communication lines. So when we look at communication lines, we start with the person, but we have to understand what are the official communication lines. So we start with one person. We have 2 people, so we have one communication line between those people. And the more people we add, the more communication lines we add. And finally, we can come to a situation where we have a lot of communication lines. And we can calculate the number of communication lines when we look at the number of people that are communicating, and the number of communication lines between those people is n times n minus 1 divided by 2. And we see that this grows exponentially. So it's very important to understand what are the official communication lines that we are dealing with. We also look at the main communication skills, very important to understand what skills do we need. First of all, we can talk about active listening. We keep the listener engaged, summarize the ideas to ensure effective communication. awareness of cultural and personal differences. We look at these different elements, we look at cultural and personal differences that we have to consider to ensure effective communication. When we don't understand this, it will create problems. We also identify, set, and manage stakeholder expectations in communication. Very important to deal when we have a project. Many things may have been promised, but we have to deal with the stakeholders so that they understand what is realizable, what is within expectations. And then we can look at the enhancement of skills, where people can look at enhancing different skills like persuasion, motivation, and it will help people to perform better. We can coach them, we can use negotiation skills and conflict resolution skills to improve communications. Then we have the 5 C's of written communication. First of all, we have to ensure correct spelling and grammar. We look at concise expression and elimination of excess words. We state a clear purpose and expression directed to the needs of the reader. We look at a coherent logical flow of ideas, and we want to control the flow of the words. So that was it about communication. Very important in project management because we are sharing a lot of information and we have to create a communication plan. We have to set up how are we dealing with communication with the people. So that was it for this video. We still have one lecture in this lesson before we can summarize the lecture. You're doing a great job and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next videos. Bye bye.